Alright, hello everyone, how are you all doing today? I myself am doing rather well, getting ready to do this Stargirl number 5 review and summary for you guys. I'ma just say rather quickly that I didn't really care for this episode overall, but I did find some aspects that I could empathize with, so it wasn't a big loss in any such way. I'd say this time around, my biggest complaint is with a specific character and how much screen time they get. And that's what I'll say about that for right now. The episode starts with another flashback beginning, this time exploring the death of Our Man and showing us the backstory of Rick, his son, a boy who has only been in the background until now. We find out that Rick's parents were attacked by Solomon Grundy, and their death was covered up to look like an accident. And I do quite enjoy this horror aspect that they have going with Solomon Grundy. They keep him to the shadows, they let him out at night, and things of that nature. So I hope that they keep him like that, kind of in the back, not really front and center, but eventually he will be, of course, because that's kind of the main crux of this episode. Back to the episode. This leads Rick to be awkwardly angry at a tree. Now, I understand why this is symbolically that he is angry with the tree because it's like the spot where his parents died, but it really doesn't stop it from being a bit weird. What I mean is, imagine walking around a corner and finding a guy just mad dogging a tree. Anyways, flash forward to the present, and Rick is working on a car. This particular car is important because in the earlier flashback, Rick received a toy car from his father, the Mustang 666, I believe, and it's this yellow replica of the car that he will be working on. His father owned it, and now he owns one, just that he needs to fix it up. Not too poor a start, I would honestly say. I can feel for Rick, at least slightly for right now. Back to the scene though. Rick unfortunately can't continue working on his car, as a part, the carburetor, was sold off by his uncle, who is currently pretending to be his father so that Rick's uncle could have some extra beer money. This almost leads to a physical confrontation, but we find out real quick that these two have fought before and that Rick's uncle has kicked his ass before as well. Quite a difficult situation for the dude, definitely. I click with Rick some more here because I've personally lived in a similar experience to Rick's, where you have an alcoholic parent or guardian who doesn't mind getting into physical confrontation. Past that, we are back at Courtney's house, where we are informed it is Halloween by Mike, who snuck into Courtney's room dressed as Frankenstein's monster. Courtney is definitely not amused at this. First time watching it through, I jumped a bit too because I wasn't expecting it for whatever reason. But seeing at it as it is Halloween, Courtney kind of has a good excuse for her Stargirl costume, because her mother walks in and she starts cleaning up the room, and Courtney gets scared that she'll discover the costume. But again, it being Halloween, she has the perfect excuse, and it's not like word of Stargirl has spread across the city, Blue Valley, or anything. So the moment does kind of fall flat in this case for me, since again, Halloween costumes. Either way, Courtney's conclusion is to pack everything in a sports bag that is just comically huge. the thing is just as big as her, and you see it just swinging around side on her side. Courtney tries to take everything to school with her. Weird plan, but okay. As she's making her way to the door, Pat makes fun of her bag and then reveals that he's figured out the secret identity of the wizard. Using a newspaper, I guess he just drew two and two together right there. Pat is very sure now that there are more members of the Injustice Society in Blue Valley. The plot thickens, but it's also kind of, frankly, put on the back burner for now, as it's time for more oopsie doopsie high school shenanigans. At school, we find Courtney trying to stuff the gym bag with all the power items into her locker. And who do we find spying on her and Yolanda, who's trying to help her get all this shit in her locker? Why, it's Beth, the strange cartoon character that I felt had a good moment last episode, but now her personality has been ramped up to 11 for this one, and I find my faith in her lacking. Listen, Beth is nowhere near as endearing or strong enough in her characterization to hold down entire scenes on her own, but they keep pushing on her onto us like a parent with a picky eater, a child who's a picky eater. You will watch this character and you will like it. Anyways, back to the scene in front of us. Courtney and Yolanda start speaking to each other about potential candidates for their new JSA. The reason they're only looking through people who are in their high school is because that adults can be potential members of the ISA, the Injustice Society. A fair conclusion, I'd say, although why it's just specifically high school kids around their age, I don't know. All the while they're doing this, they're speaking loud enough that someone with headphones standing about 5 feet apart behind them can hear all of what they're saying. So really bad superheroing, incognito type of stuff. Really not the best thing these could be doing, but it's a short scene because we then jump to a theater where one of the villains is informed that a high-powered radio dish will be in transport soon. Back to Courtney, though. Looks like it's after school and Pat's car has broken down. They're in the middle of the road when Rick passes by, and with Pat they start discussing about what's wrong with the car, and Courtney in the back starts to notice a strange sound coming from her gym bag. It is our man's hourglass. This thing is glowing brightly in recognition of Rick. A little humorous scene starts up with Rick walking around town and Courtney, still with her huge bag, following him. Definitely my favorite part of the episode. It's very brief, but it left a humorous impact on me. But it's then followed by the worst part of the episode. Back at Courtney's house, Beth goes full cartoon and she invites herself in, won't stop talking and annoying Courtney's mother and Mike. Beth is then asked to wait in the living room, but she doesn't really stay there for long as she walks into Courtney's room after chasing the family dog. I would like to remind you that I really do despise this character and hate how many scenes she gets to herself. Courtney comes in and is rightfully pissed off at this girl, but instead of kicking her out right away, she just lets Beth act the fool, and until she finally starts babbling about superhero stuff, does she take the time to consider what this girl is saying. On the goggles that Beth has put on, even though they were just inside a dog's mouth, these goggles provide her with a wealth of information, so much so that these things will not only become a major plot device for sure, but In this very episode, they are already being used as a deus ex machina. Through the goggles, Courtney now understands that Rick is the son of Rex Tyler, the former Hour Man. They then use the goggles to track down Rick to a house party taking place in Cindy's house, the evil cheerleader. Joined by Yolanda, they go searching through the house for Rick, but some more shenanigans ensue real quick. Although Yolanda does stay outside because she sees Henry, her ex-boyfriend, at the party, and during the party we see that Henry's not having a good time and that him and Sydney have really been growing apart. She makes up fun of him and he walks out. Henry's powers seem to be developing further as he hears his first thought, and it's something as simple as Yolanda calling him a jerk. Back at the house party, Courtney has tracked down Rick and explains the situation in full. Beth explains how the hourglass works, and we're off. It's kind of rampage time for Rick as he goes to hunt his uncle and his hour of super strength. With his hour of super strength, he does find him, but only goes as far as destroying his uncle's truck, which has been parked outside of a diner. Unfortunately, I get excited for a super-powered fight between Stargirl, Wildcat, and Rick. I do still feel slightly cheated out of a fight. I don't get my fight, but I do find a connection with Rick. You see, I understand the unbearable anger that you experience after the death of a parent. While Pat is still my favorite character, Rick has now become the character I relate to the most. Beth shows up by the tree where his parents died to show Rick the death of his parents, because the goggles can just do that. With holograms that recreate the Solomon Grundy attack from years ago, Rick wants revenge and he agrees to join Stargirl's team. So that's kind of how we don't get the fight. Finally, here at the end, we get the villains robbing a truck and Pat's realization of what Courtney's been up to these last two episodes. So, to quickly recap, I despise Bev, but I empathize with Rick, and that lets me still recommend this episode, as overall the good moments do outweigh any dragging out of the cringe moments. I'll definitely still be checking out the next episode. If you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like. If you have your own thoughts to share on this episode, why not put those down below in the comment section? And for more Stargirl reviews, go ahead and subscribe. That's all I've got to say about this one. I know it's quite a bit shorter, but a lot of stuff goes down that doesn't really need explanation. Well, like I said, most of my criticisms do go down to I despise Beth and she's got a lot of scenes, so there's no point in repeating that so often. Okay, I'll be signing out now. Thanks for checking out my video, and take care. I'll see you next time.